Hello there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now Dana White has long said that he wants to get into boxing with Zuffa Boxing. Obviously he's UFC and he wants to come over to boxing. He believes that he can fix all of the problems with boxing, with all of the governing bodies by just not recognizing them. So maybe he would make his own title, have fighters signed to him, and then he can make them fight whoever he wants, like in the UFC. But he has said during this pandemic and during lockdown and all of that, he said he's been thinking and looking at different ideas. Boxing is one of them, and an announcement could come very soon, in the next few weeks. So, is a Dana White a good fit for boxing? I believe yes. I think that the more people we get into boxing, the better for the sport, because obviously he's going to bring in a substantial investment, give young fighters better opportunities, and there will be fighters who are sidelined at the moment who maybe could get a fight with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. So I think it's a positive move, but I don't know how it's going to work with him working with different promoters, like say Matchroom, like Golden Boy, and PBC and all of that. I just don't see how that's going to work at the moment, but ultimately there is a way in which they can sort it out. Or maybe Dana White just goes away on his own, boxing under Zuffa Boxing, one Zuffa championship. Yeah, everyone wants to be a Zuffa champion, but anyway, it could be just one title like that. Then he makes them fight who he wants, like in the UFC. You're fighting this guy, you're fighting that guy, even with the women's boxing as well. Maybe that's something he would also be interested in getting into. Then he can make these fighters fight who he wants to fight. I mean, to get their opportunities, to win the title, to win a world championship. And that would be not recognizing the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO belts, or Ring Magazine, any of that. He's going to think that they don't exist. He doesn't recognize them. He's going to create his own title. Then he can make the fights he wants. And he's not restricted by any governing bodies, purse bids, or anything like that. That sounds kind of refreshing, I have to admit. I know that the WBC and all of those belts have the history, and I mean, who's going to want to go from that to winning a Zuffa championship and have people say the Zuffa belt doesn't mean anything? I mean, it's not even a real world championship. I know that that's going to be a stigma attached to this for years to come, but still, is it not refreshing to see that these fights happen? The big fights would happen without any I'm champion, you're not champion. I have this kind of money, you have that kind of money, so you don't warrant this fight. No, there would be none of that. All of the politics would be eliminated if there was just one championship by one governing body and all of the fighters are signed to one promotional company. So there is none of this cross promotions deals or anything like that. And things that can get in the way, like Bob Arum doesn't want to work with Al Heyman, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn can't work together. I know they're going to do a deal and hopefully meet up soon, so maybe that will change, but all of this back and forth, like they don't want to work with one another. That doesn't benefit the fighters at all. So if there is just one, I know there's still going to be Matchroom and all of that anyway, but I mean, it's going to kind of be separate. Maybe Matchroom and Zuffa Boxing can do a deal with one another. Dana White did explain he would be happy to work with Eddie Hearn, so maybe that's a potential possibility down the line, or maybe that's something that he's looking into now. Maybe he's having dialogue with Eddie Hearn, although Eddie Hearn would have probably told us about it because he likes to talk about stuff, especially big deals and money and all of that. So I think we would know if that was happening right now, but that is definitely something that could potentially happen down the line. But it's great that there is more interest in boxing. It's great and positive that Dana White does want to get into boxing. It's good for the sport, I believe, anyway. Get more attraction, get more fans, even from the UFC as well, coming over. I mean, we don't want to see any of those crossover fights with UFC fighters and boxers. That's not really that interesting. They are more kind of gimme kind of events. But if it's just boxing and Dana White does come over to boxing and has a heavy investment in young talent as well, gives fighters who aren't fighting at the moment opportunities on his shows, then that is great for the sport of boxing. But guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Announcements may be coming soon from Dana White about Zuffa Boxing and him getting into this sport. Guys, anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.